Medicine with Miss P. And my fake smile because I was just in my daughter's bathroom. Why do I go in there? Why did I do that? It was horrifying. I'm gonna have nightmares. I took out two garbage bags full of just, I don't know, empty bottles, and her shower reminds me of like what a meth house may look like. I don't understand how someone could be so gross. I'm concerned. Anyway, on a lighter note, we're gonna hit some fun stuff here. I figured I'd do this. I don't know, maybe the rest of January, or maybe until I run out of stuff, which could be forever. Maybe we'll never get to CHF and diabetes. But meanwhile, I got some really cute stuff that I figured I'd share with you. So it's neat. Couple recent things that I got from work is patient told me that she had a defibrillator in her back. It's the posterior defibrillator. Turns out, I'm pretty sure it was a nerve stimulator for her back. No heart history, doesn't have a cardiologist. She's going to defibrillate her spine. She was so sweet, though. And then another patient, when I said, what surgery have you had in the past? And they're like, well, how far back? I'm like, birth. Like, we need to know all of the surgeries you've ever had, so we know what organs you do and don't have, so we know how you tolerate anesthesia. So she's like, well, I just had one procedure. I had a breast implant exchange. So was either born with a breast implant or forgot to mention her original breast augmentation. And I kind of say, like, are you sure that's the only surgery, or did you have a surgery before that? No, that was it. I said, okay, well, if you exchanged it, that means that at some point you had it implanted. Oh, well, yeah, I had a breast implants. Okay, just checking. All right. And then another patient told me he cured his migraines with vitamin D, and I thought that was totally cool. So, little tip, just so you know, if your vitamin D is low and you get migraines, he swears that since he started taking it, he hasn't had any. I thought that was awesome. So, for those of you that get migraines, try it. Okay, another lady told me she takes her muscle relaxers for her migraines. I mean, I'm not saying that won't make you feel better, but I am saying unless we're talking about the vasomuscular wall, because as we all know, migraines are a vascular headache, but whatever works for you. And then after another patient finished telling me all of their surgeries, we get to the cardiology part, and I said, "Do you have a cardiologist? Have you ever seen a doctor for anything other than checkups or testing?" And like, well, I had that thing where they go up and look around. Like, I'm assuming you mean into your heart. Did you have a cardiac cath? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a procedure that like requires anesthesia. That's more or less a surgical procedure. You probably should have mentioned earlier, but they don't even see it as that. And then and they always act appalled when you ask them like when their hysterectomy was. Like or when your gallbladder was. They're like, "Oh, whew, gosh, oh, I'm not asking you to travel back in time. That's if you're exasperated by having to go back in time, I understand that, but I'm just asking you to count. Like, give me an idea. Was it 20 years ago? Was it in the 1960s? Like, just, and they're every single time like, oh, whoa, gosh, whoa, I don't know. I'm like, are you thinking that hard? Is that where all the exhaustion comes from? I don't like the amount of noises they make instead of just saying that was maybe 20 years ago, or that was when I was 45, or it's the amount of noise they make. I don't, just like when you ask a 52-year-old when her last period was, she like laughs in your face. I'm like, I think my mother-in-law had her period till she was like 56 or something. Like, it happens. Just answer the question. I don't save all the theatrics. And then another patient, she told me that, I don't know, they replaced an artery or something in my heart. So did you have a coronary artery bypass graft? Like, no, they went through my groin and replaced an artery. Now, listen, they're doing amazing things out there. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I had to work really hard to get her to tell me that it was a TAVR procedure. I hadn't heard of that, so I looked it up. TAVR. They replaced her aortic valve, and she thought it was an artery. Like, you don't have to be a scholar or a college graduate. You don't even have to be a high school graduate. All I did was Google TAVR. And of course, she told me it was TAVER, which, all the taverns kept coming up. So apparently, they replaced her aortic valve, and she had no idea. It's kind of a big one. All right. And every single time I ask, unless they're like in their 80s, like the 80-year-olds seem to know, but you ask like a 46-year-old if you have a living will, they literally will tell you who gets their stuff. Why would a nurse preparing you for surgery ask you who's getting your stuff if you die? I just skip over it. I just say, no, this is, that this determines whether you want to live on life support if you couldn't answer for yourself, if you're, unconscious or, not in your right mind. Oh, no, I don't have one of those. Okay. Any more than I think a lawyer would ask you, if you wanted a certain medication. I don't think they don't cross over. I don't know. And then another patient told my coworker, whom I love, she's hilarious. She said that the patient said that he takes his Wellbutrin for asthma. I mean, all right, maybe if I really work that back, I guess anything's possible. Probably not that, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of these and then I got to go. Like always, I have 1,000 things to do. I don't know why I even try. I've just totally overwhelmed. I got a list of crap. Some of the, I don't know where we left off or where we started or stopped, but just a couple little things. I think most of these are things patients have told me also. We're going to get to the student stuff, but I want to just get rid of this page. Patient told me they were allergic to Penicinder. I'm assuming it's penicillin. They also had their tonsors removed. Let's see what he wrote down. TONSERS, tonsors. His tonsors have been removed. Don't have to worry about those. Oh, and another patient told me they had a neck implant. It's like a breast implant, only higher, a neck implant. So it's my job to go straight up Sherlock Holmes, and I eventually found out that he had an anterior cervical discectomy and a fusion. It's a neck implant. And I remember I told you students this before, a patient that told me that he had an MIR, stay with me, that showed brain damage from a UT infection. I think he said a UTI infection. I think he said a UTI infection, which was like a urinary tract infection. And then he also the same patient, I think, was on verapamil, hydralazine, lisinopril, hydrochlorothiazide, and Coreg, and denies CHF. That's a tricky little thing there, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. Some people say milligrams. This person told me that they had megagrams. It's larger than a megagram. It's a megagram, much, much larger than a milligram. Sleepopenia, when they got the sleepopenia, when they stop breathing at night, the old sleepopenia. One patient charted that, and I think she charted that, she didn't tell me this, she charted it that she thinks she's allergic to all these medications because they make her nauseated, which a lot of medications do. That's kind of what they do. Vomiting scares her because she can't stop and her potassium drops and she's afraid she'll stroke out. Do you know how long you would have to vomit for your potassium to drop? And then she throws in a stroke in there. That's not, I don't even understand how any of those could be related. She's going to stroke out from vomiting with a low potassium. That's apparently going to cause a bleed or an occlusion in her brain from vomiting. That is some hardcore vomiting you got going on there. I'm not even sure what that one is. Oh, yes, I do remember this. These are horrible notes, but I'm recalling it. This patient had a vitrectomy, and that's kind of where they go in and remove some aqueous humor and try to fill in the hole from their retinal detachment or the macular hole or whatever they got going on in there. One day I'm going to go in and watch because I bet it's very interesting. So they either have like a bubble put in there or a gas bubble or an oil bubble, or sometimes it's being removed. At any rate, this patient has his vitrectomy. Then after the vitrectomy, which he felt rushed out, he felt like we rushed him out of there. And here's the thing with outpatient surgery. We do that for you. We're going to be there all day no matter what. If the last case comes out at 8 o'clock and then we leave at 9, that's how long we're there. We're rushing you out, and we're not rushing you out. It's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours recovery. That's how long it takes. When you're awake, alert, and oriented, why would you stay with us? Why would you not want to go home? So he felt rushed out. So I know that when I feel, medically inapt and I'm so sick and I don't feel well, I too go to Shoney's. So he then goes to Shoney's. And then after surgery, he goes to Shoney's, and then he says he doesn't feel so well and he ends up falling. And then she insisted that he refused to go to they come over to try to help him. He refused to go to the hospital, refused to get any treatment. And she says, he had a stroke. He had a stroke at Shoney's. I said, okay, which side was he weak on? Well, he wasn't. Okay, was he able to, stand up afterwards? Yeah. And he didn't have weakness on one side more than the other, anything like that. No, she insisted that he stroked out. So then, clearly, after all of this, he just went straight home. And I guess he was okay. That's how devastated he was that he went straight home after his stroke in Shoney's. You can't make this up. A patient told me that, and I can't remember how they wrote this, but they see their GOBYN. Go bin! Not their GYN, they see their GOBYN. It's their doctor who went to school to be a GOBYN. All right. Yes, we did have, this was interesting. We had a patient bring in a medication in a syringe that was mixed, drawn up, given to her in a bag of ice, and they hand it to us at our facility and think that we are going to give this to her IV before her procedure. Now, a doctor did this. Just think about it. Either a nurse under a doctor's order or a doctor thought that he could drop a medication, have no idea what it is, it's not even labeled, put it in a bag of ice, bring it to us, and we're going to actually just shoot it into this lady, not knowing what it is, what could be in there, who mixed it, was it done aseptic technique, and we're just going to give it to her. And we're like, no, there's no way we're giving you that. No. Oh, another patient told me that they had an aneurysm in their spleen. Maybe an artery leading to their spleen. Can you have a spleen aneurysm? I guess possibly, but I don't think so. Oh yeah, I did ask this patient. I had to write this down because I was in denial. I said, every time you go through their meds, you have to say like, "Are you sure you're not missing anything? Are there any other medications you take?" And he's like, "No, but I have some tattoos." This is the second time I got that, where I'm asking them about like surgeries or anything, and they mention their tattoos. Or I say, "Do you have any metal on your body?" And they mention their tattoos. Are there metallic tattoos? All right. Oh yes, and I have asked patients many times, like we have to ask everybody, have you ever had an injury to your back, neck, or nose, like from trauma? I'm like, well, yeah, I had back surgery. It's traumatic maybe, but it's still not trauma. We're trying to find out, did you have an accident? If the doctors and everybody already knows you have pre-existing back problems, that's not trauma. That was elected. You signed a consent to have that trauma. There's nobody in a car accident that's like, hold on, let me sign this consent before I get into a car accident. That's what trauma is. That's fine. And I did have somebody tell me, this was one of my favorite things I ever heard. I said, "Are you allergic to anything?" And they said, "Yes, all food that swims." If you can swim, that's food that swims. I can swim. I know dogs can swim, but all right. food that swims. Okay, a couple little things from students, and then I got to run because I got 100 things to do. Um, okay, I told you Wheezy on top. Oh, a student once charted, and as they all do, Perla, and which would be fine, right? Pupils equal, round, reactive to light, and accommodation. Oh, except that the left eye was a prosthetic. So you might need to work on your exam there if you think that the pupils were equal and reacted to light. It's a fake eye. It's a prosthetic, but all right. And then one on their med list, they wrote Nonase 5 milligrams PO daily. Nonase. Nonase. I don't even know what that is. Some of my favorites. I try not to giggle. Now we're giggling because students are adorable and they say and do hilarious things because they're learning and they're, hear this term, they hear that term, and maybe they don't put them together just yet. But one of my favorites, and I got more than once, was Telly 8654 showing occasional artifact at 82 beats per minute. That was the rhythm. Artifact. Occasional artifact. Oh, I also got Prella. Prella. Pupils are round, equal. And I don't know. That's fabulous. Perla times 3. It could have been the chakra. They're checking that chakra, that center, that top eye. Patient told me they had a colonotomy. Did you have a colonotomy? Is that a thing? Maybe I should look it up. Colonotomy. Oh, breath sounds bilaterally throughout to bases. Nailed it. That is everything. That's the trifecta. Not just breath sounds clear bilaterally, breath sounds clear throughout, or breath sounds clear to bases. Nailed them all. Bilaterally throughout to bases. I listened to every single alveoli. Nailed it. Got it. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just cute and wildly redundant. Oh, you know what? For that one, I'm going to write that one on the board. I don't know if I already did, but I'm going to have to write that one on the board because that was one of my favorites. Oh, and for those of you that took my IV therapy course, when we write down what LPNs are not allowed to administer, the oxytocics and tocolytics, or if you're super creative, oxytocolytics. Just combine them. They're complete opposites, but you just make up a word and put it all together, and that is just fine. All right, I'm going to leave off right there, and I'm going to come back to that next time. Star that because I haven't done that yet. And that's it. I'm sorry it's boring, not a super fun one today, but I just have 100 things to do, and I should not have gone into her room, into her bathroom or her bedroom before doing this because now I'm in a bad mood. And I'm gonna choke that little child. So okay, until next time. I had to work Tuesday, so I had to film this on Thursday, and then I'll post it tomorrow morning, and I'll get it up as soon as I can. I know the 6 of you are dying to watch. So, all right, hugs and kisses, y'all. As always, face your fears, forget your failures, and follow your faith. And I'll see you next time, if there is a next time. It's always the third time that this works. You know what? I could just reach out and touch.